would definitely have to say that one of the most mysterious characters in the Star Wars sequel trilogy has got to be Supreme Leader Snoke. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one aspect of Episode 9 that a lot of people are truly looking forward to seeing is, of course, exactly what J.J. Abrams is going to do. That's going to change how fans view both Episodes 7 and 8, as well as the entire Skywalker saga. So I wanted to focus on Supreme Leader Snoke, a character that was killed off midway through the entire sequel trilogy by the hands of Kylo Ren, his own apprentice. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art, and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with Episode 9 involving Snoke's identity in the movie. Specifically, it's described that during the second act of the film, Snoke's identity will be used as a plot device to expand the characters of Leia, Ben Solo, and even Luke Skywalker. It's also described that one of the revelations during the second act will have to do with Snoke's identity and his origins, and how he is connected to the new threat that will make their way into the middle or end of the movie. It's also described that Snoke's identity reveal will have saga-wide implications, and will affect some of the past Skywalker saga films. It's also said that after Episode 9 drops, a series of canon material, like novels and books, are planned that will be connected to Episode 9's story, that will dive more into Snoke as a character, and his backstory, as well as new stories of Ben Solo. So I really want to go over a couple of parts about this. Now, this to me sounds very exciting because to this very day, we really know little to nothing about the character of Supreme Leader Snoke. Now, at the very least, with Emperor Palpatine, at least we got the prequel trilogy, we got to learn a little bit more about him, and then later on, in other forms of canon like books and comics, we got to learn that his first name was actually Sheev Palpatine. So we're going to get a similar treatment with Supreme Leader Snoke in Episode 9, where we will be getting more answers for the character. Now, first things first, what really does intrigue me is that the identity of Snoke is going to be used as a plot device that's going to move the characters and expand the characters of Leia, Ben Solo, and Luke Skywalker. So those three characters are the main three that are connected to Snoke and have a history with that character, and it only makes some sense for them to do something like that by Disney and Lucasfilm. Now, the other of which that I do want to go over is how it's described that one of the revelations during the second act of the film will in fact have to do with Snoke's identity and his origins, and exactly how he is connected to the new threat in this movie. So this new threat, we're not quite sure exactly who they are, where they come from per se. We do know that one of the new villains dubbed as Vector Ritsu, and the other of which is a female dubbed as Samara. So both Vector and Samara, alright, one of which actually originated in the unknown regions. That was, of course, the character of, I believe it was Samara, that eventually reached out to the Beyond. Now, the Beyond is going to play a major role in this film. Now, additionally, Snoke is somewhat connected to the Beyond, as well as Emperor Palpatine. There are connections to be made in this movie that will make us understand exactly what's really going on here. So Supreme Leader Snoke's identity actually having somewhat of a connection to the new threat in Episode 9 makes one wonder, this new threat coming into play here for this movie, could it very well be that it's Snoke's species of some kind, or something similar in a sense to that? Or could it be that Snoke is actually connected to one of the characters and has had a past with that character in, details such as the Vector Ritsu character? So when we look at Episode 9, we do know that J.J. Abrams is creating this dynamic in this movie where you have the First Order going up against the Resistance, by also bringing in a third faction that's going to interrupt the battle between the two, where Kylo Ren is going to feel vulnerable at some point in this film. We also know that the MacGuffin, which is another plot device that moves the plot forward and the story moving forward, is going to be controversial among fans. So a lot of fans are going to disagree and have different opinions about the MacGuffin in this movie. And it's actually going to change from start to finish of the film. And that's what really, kind of mind boggles me, is that maybe the MacGuffin is indeed the Beyond, perhaps. Maybe that's a possibility. Now, the other of which that I do want to go over is how there is canon material planned that's going to be connected to Episode 9's story. This can come in the form of comics, books, novels, you name it, that's really going to dive more into the character of Snoke and Ben Solo. So this most definitely does, line directly up with the rumored Ben Solo novel from about 6 months ago that they were actually planning to do for either a 2020 release or 2019. And that to me I think sounds pretty amazing because we would get to learn more about these characters and look at the films in a different light. Now guys, let me know what you think about Supreme Leader Snoke. Do you think that he was killed off way too early in the sequel trilogy? Given our position just watching the sequel trilogy and this trilogy being the first introduction of the character, it does make sense that they wanted to kill him off to a degree, They wanted to move the character of Kylo Ren forward to becoming the leader of the First Order, but at the same exact time, I think that they could have just spent at the very least, 2, maybe even 3 minutes explaining a little bit more about Snoke in The Last Jedi, kind of like what Luke did with Rey, explaining his past with Ben Solo in the form of flashbacks. Anyways guys, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.